Since the devastating floods of 2005 and the several other floods which occurred in the previous decade, Guyana and its people continue to live under the threat of severe flooding. The low-lying coastal areas vulnerable to catastrophic flooding and threatened by rising sea levels and changing rainfall patterns. The World Bank is working across the globe on the environment, climate change mitigation and adaptation issues, and is playing a critical role in raising awareness on the importance of immediate action. Through its program with the government of Guyana, it has designed and funded the Conservancy Adaptation project, which aims at strengthening the understanding of the East Demerara Water Conservancy system and coastal drainage patterns in the country.
Well, the East Demerara Water Conservancy, as you would know, it's about 200 square miles, and it serves irrigation needs to close to 20,000 hectares, sugar, rice, other crops. And more importantly, it serves as an important flood control mechanism for the East Coast, East Bank, Georgetown, where you have close to 60% of the population of Guyana residing.
This video production describes the importance of the Conservancy for the country. It shows how the Conservancy works, as well as how the Conservancy Adaptation project collects data and provides advanced mapping, research, and an advanced engineering foundation for water flow and flood control management. The Government of Guyana, the National Drainage and Irrigation Agency, Conservancy staff, World Bank and other donor organizations work together to improve the system and find long-lasting solutions to the problem. The World Bank and other partners have provided technical and financial assistance towards the execution and future success of this project, and will continue assisting Guyana with global knowledge, expertise, and resources. Join us in an exciting journey into the East Demerara Water Conservancy in Guyana. Guyana is located on the northeastern tip of South America. 3/4 of Guyana's population of 750,000 live on a 30-kilometer band along the Atlantic coast. This strip is an area of reclaimed land, below sea level, but protected from the sea by a seawall, and a complex, intricate drainage system of cokers and irrigation canals built by the Dutch in the early 1600s. Guyana has faced rising sea levels and a sinking continental shelf, but the Conservancy Adaptation project is playing a critical role in preparing Guyana to effectively address the effects of climate change.
Well, we are reducing the Guyana's vulnerability to flood, which is critical to maintaining the economic stability of the country. The consequence of climate change in the Caribbean nations like Guyana impose a heavy burden on the economies of the region, and in particular they have a negative impact on the poor. It is for this reason, of course, that climate change is central to the bank agenda in the region, and with the Conservancy Adaptation project we are supporting the agenda.
The East Demerara Water Conservancy, or the Conservancy as it is known in these parts, is an intricate network of canals. This massive earthen dam and water storage facility is the lifeline of Guyana, providing regional agricultural lands with water for irrigation, and in the densely populated urban areas, drinking water for residents. The Conservancy holds over 100 billion liters of water, and the structure is equipped with a series of relief sluices which must be carefully opened to adjust the level of water in the dam in periods of intense rainfall.
Well, the East Demerara Water Conservancy, as you would know, it's about 200 square miles, and it serves irrigation needs to close to 20,000 hectares, sugar, rice, other crops. And more importantly, it serves as an important flood control mechanism for the East Coast, East Bank, Georgetown, where you have close to 60% of the population of Guyana residing. So if you look at that in terms of its direct contribution towards, in terms of sugar production, rice production, crops production, and more so safeguarding industrial and other economic activities within this geographical area, you will get to appreciate how critical the East Demerara Water Conservancy is to our survival, literal survival, but more so to in terms of ensuring continued economic growth and continued development, and ensuring that our people have a decent standard of living. When you have a sector like agriculture contributing close to 36 to 37% of GDP, and you have this vital infrastructure that is supporting the sector, we can look at the direct and indirect benefits for the economy and so.
Over the last decade, climate change has hit Guyana hard, and scientific analysis conducted in 1995 and 1999 indicate that sea levels in the region of Guyana are increasing at more than 10 millimeters per year, 2 to 5 times faster than the global estimate. The traditional longer rainy seasons are being replaced by very short and intense periods of rainfall. Guyana is experiencing a general drying trend. This shift poses severe challenges to the drainage system, as a drying trend would lead to greater reliance on the Conservancy water storage system during dry seasons. This increases the importance of effective water level management within the Conservancy, placing an even greater emphasis on rapid response to water level changes within the system to meet demand and system safety requirements.
Well, we are focusing on doing some improvement in the East Demerara Water Conservancy, in which the World Bank has allocated about $3.8 million as grant. And we are working, of course, closely also with other donors, in addition to the government. The donor community has agreed to work jointly with the government of Guyana and improve the drainage capacity of the country's water control system. Other actors involved in this project are the IDB, the European Commission, the UNDP, DFID, of course, and SIDA and USAID.
The Conservancy Adaptation project has 3 main components on which a master plan for the East Demerara Water Conservancy has been developed. The first component provides $2 million from the Global Environment Facility for pre-investment studies for engineering design works. This includes laser mapping and modeling of the topography of the area and analysis of the data. The second component, $2.9 million, of which the government of Guyana has contributed $1.2 million, is to be used for investments in specific adaptation measures, such as the acquisition of dredging equipment, the repair of water control structures, and the expansion of canals to better manage the flow of water in the Conservancy. And thirdly, $100,000 earmarked for project management and institutional strengthening of the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, which will execute the project, and the Civil Defense Commission. Both agencies hold responsibility for drainage and irrigation in Guyana.
Okay, the Drainage and Irrigation Authority has been providing one technical support to the East Demerara Water Conservancy. The project is providing funds for rehabilitation of that infrastructure, but more importantly is that the entire reservoir, the 230 square miles or so, it's a very complex hydraulic system that is, because from inception it was formed by damming a number of small tributaries and small conservancies by the man-made embankment stretching about 45 miles. The project, the important component is the pre-investment studies, whereby a number of hydrological data would be gathered and modeled for us, and more importantly, it's coming at a time when we're faced with climate change and we can no longer rely on data that we would have used in the past 50 or 100 years ago to do work that we want to do now.
In 2000 and 2005, increased rainfall levels resulted in catastrophic flooding, which brought severe damage to crops and livestock and loss of life, and threatened the economic stability of Guyana. These events highlighted that the efficient operation and regular maintenance of the East Demerara Water Conservancy is critical to Guyana's survival.
If we look at the event of 2005, when we had that massive flooding, where based on an ECLAC report, 60% of GDP was threatened, damaged. I think that gives us a good indication. We've been able to recover in many respects. For instance, the sugar industry has not been able to recover since from the difficulties that it encountered. And then if we look constantly with the changes in the weather pattern, we've seen that the government would have to put much more money in terms of adaptation efforts. So you see more and more resources will have to be dedicated in terms of building infrastructure, putting the necessary safeguard, and also working with vulnerable communities and groups such as farmers to ensure that their livelihood is not affected.
The Conservancy have to be monitored when there is heavy rainfall. They will have to monitor the water at different stages. You got to know what to do, when to open coca, when how to regulate, to release the water. You got to know when to release, which coca to release. That's the most important thing. Check the dam for no leakage, no breakage, no overtapping. So you got a 24-hour kind of monitoring of the dam. And if the water is too much, then you have to go to open the coca on the Mahaika Creek side to be able to resist it. And that is when the water near meet 59 GD, then you open on that side.
GD, or Georgetown Datum, is the unit of measurement established to measure the tidal difference or height of the tide in relation to a fixed point on land, in this case identified as the base of the lighthouse in Guyana, which is deemed to be 17.4 meters or 57.11 feet above GD. The East Demerara Water Conservancy enters a danger zone when the level of water in the dam rises above 59 GD, and the weight of the water threatens the earthen walls and overtopping can occur.
The 2005 flood, the Conservancy never breached nowhere. We had some overtapping, but that was closed off in 24 hours because we worked night and day packing mud bag on it. Within 24 hours we closed off all the overtapping. And every day and since the flood day we continue checking low spot. There wasn't overtapping, but we see the low spot and we build it with bags, with mud bags.
The government of Guyana is upgrading the physical infrastructure of the Conservancy, and in this uniquely natural ecosystem, no chemicals, pesticides or weedicides are used. Floating bagasse, which naturally occurs in the dam, must constantly be removed to increase the water holding capacity, and excavation works dig deep into the base of the Conservancy to retrieve clay which is then used to reinforce the sides of the dam.
You see we trying to build the dam, we're building the dam coming up. We're clearing the waterways, we're clearing the dam, we're clearing the cocas. Those are the ongoing things that we do every day. Every day, 365 days a year. That is what we're doing. And during the heavy rainfall, you have to monitor the dam on foot night and day. When the water above 58 GD, you have to monitor the dam on foot. Because if there is a leaking, a piping, the way you call a piping where the water passes through, or a little overtapping, because you see some places the soil is kind of loosey. And if the water starts to wash there, it washes out the whole dam in within a short period if you don't see it on time.
The Conservancy Adaptation Project, with its data collection component and intensive research into the effects of climate change in Guyana, provides many with an important learning opportunity. The World Bank and other development partners have provided technical and financial assistance towards the execution and future success of the Conservancy, and will continue assisting Guyana and its people with global knowledge, expertise, and resources.
Nationally, we have recognized that the Conservancy over decades require much more attention. Climate change has forced us and has compelled us to ensure that we have maximum efficiency, but not only maximum efficiency from the current infrastructure that we have, but also looking at other ways in which we can better utilize the Conservancy as flood control and to serve the expanding agricultural need. Over the last 4 years, the central government would have expended close to $1 billion Guyana dollars, but that is not enough. And that is where we also require greater support, working with donor partners. And we were happy that the World Bank came on board and was responsive in the climate Conservancy Adaptation project within the Global Environmental Facility.
The government of Guyana and the donor community look forward to achieving the best possible results from the project. This project is core and focuses on advancing concrete interventions in flood control, climate change, and land use planning for the benefit of Guyana and all Guyanese.
Our agenda is to reduce poverty. So we reduce poverty in many ways, and there are various types of projects for which basically we have to adapt to the conditions of the country and the different situations. In Guyana in particular, we are focusing on the climate change.
Guyana's Conservancy Adaptation project, a benchmark of how global cooperation can impact on local efforts, is going to change the way we approach safeguarding our coastal security and agricultural self-sufficiency. Across the globe, we are facing the challenges climate change brings. But with partnerships like these, we build consensus, change behaviors, and prepare our societies for a brighter future.